you're going back to the day of Pilate real quick.
Yes, I was someone in the castle or in the Pilate's home.
It's like you went back in time.
I was back in time, and it was like a different life, but it was me. And I witnessed Pilate's wife talking to him and really being very afraid. I think I was like a servant or part of the court or something, because I was really dressed very, very finely and had gold on my arms and stuff, and these big long gold earrings. But I witnessed her being so afraid and telling Pilate to let Jesus go, that it would, not to let him be killed, not to be crucified, because she was so afraid that something bad would happen, and she believed that he was the Messiah, and she told Pilate that she believed that, and Pilate got very afraid of that, and he really tried to get out of having Jesus crucified. But the Pharisees and the Sanhedrin were so bent on that Jesus had to die, because they saw him taking away their power with the people. And they also really had this distinct fear he really was the Messiah. And they didn't want that to happen, because he had called them wrong, and on the temple steps, called them thieves. And Pilate really struggled, and after Jesus died and rose, Pilate became a Christian, and his whole household became Christians, and he was banished from the Roman government, his whole family, because they became Christians. And that's in the Roman archives, if anybody wants to check that out.
And what did you tell me when I asked you how you knew Jesus was Jesus? When he held out his hand to you.
He held out his hand, and right here, it wasn't here, and it wasn't here. It was right here between these fingers was the nail scar of his hands, and it still showed, and in his feet. And when he rubbed my face, I could feel the roughness of it, and there was no blood, but you could still see the scar where the nail had been, and the nail in his feet. And
we've talked about this enough times where it seems casual, but when we talked about it the first couple times, there was no casualness to it. It was very sacred. It was very precious to us, and still is. But
that to me, it might not mean anything to anybody else, but to me, and it was my vision. That was Jesus. That was Christ. That was the Son of the living God,
right.
The one who died for my sins. And when he touched me and called me daughter, I never felt such. I was home. I was a part of him.
Yeah.
His body was part of my body. My body was part of his body. And his blood was my blood, and my blood was his blood, and he was my sacrifice, and I was his daughter, and just the love and the grace that he poured out. And then he told me, he said I could go back, but he said this time, and. So I don't think I'll get another chance, when it happens again, to come back.
I remember you telling me that Michael at the end had rings.
Michael had rings when we were in the kingdom. He had rings on. They were beautiful rings, but they meant something. God gave him those rings. Those rings were something special. They were like merit badges or something, you know, that they meant a battle or something really important that Michael had done for God. It was like a pageant honor.
Was there any strangers in heaven? People that didn't seem to be like you?
Yeah, there were. And there were a lot of points on where I was.
Kind of like the Jacob's ladder, going in and going out.
Yeah, there was a lot of activity. But I always saw, now Jesus left after he talked to me, so I don't know where he went, you know, but it's just like.
So along the gate, you saw, when you were standing at the gate, you had seen some, you described some of them as being real fragile.
Yeah, they were like, you know, sickly looking. But I don't know, I think we go through a change process. Because it was amazing, I could feel myself weakening and weakening and weakening. And I think it was only by Christ's power,
Grace.
that I was still able to stand up and still be there. Because I could feel my body starting to leave me.
I think it's done.